Hey, good morning, everybody. It is the 22nd of July, 2025. It is Buddy Check Day. And my buddy this morning is Hacker over here, and we're doing a buddy check with Hacker. Most of you know him as Jason Rutledge, the former president, executive director of our Safe 22, one of the three founders of Safe 22, along with Tom and Albert. And we're talking with him first thing this morning about our wellness center down there in Carroll County. Jason, good morning. Thanks for joining.
Morning, yeah, glad you could send me a message to reach out.
See you're sitting in the truck this morning. Got yourself a little appointment, right?
Yeah, I got me set up on the road. You know how it goes.
I do, but good thing you're an IT guy and you have that capability to handle these kind of situations.
Just make it happen is what I do sometimes.
Make it happen. Make it happen. So, hey, man, real quick, how are you? Right? This is Buddy Check Day, so let's do
doing good.
How you feeling, man?
Doing good, man. Taking inventory is something that I do on the regular. For those that don't know what that's about, definitely spend a little bit of time and looking into that. But taking inventory to find out the things that are important in your life and things that matter, but maybe not as much as others, and reprioritizing the things that you need to focus on. So doing a lot of that lately. Most of you know that after I broke my leg in August of last year, that was kind of like a major, hey, dude, you should probably slow down and really just take some time and focus on things that are important, all that good stuff. So, I've definitely slowed my roll some and trying to focus on some other things, family time and all that good stuff. You running a nonprofit for so long and volunteering, and man, it's a long time. I would take credit for about 9-ish, give or somewhere in there. Because after this last year, I haven't really done much, that. But still, it takes a toll on the time, the family, everything. So, reevaluating and trying to reprioritize some things and, trying to, I don't know, stay on the good path and keep above, You
and I talk about that quite a bit. You're normally the words that we use are giving a F, right? We're giving away too many Fs. We're sending too much stuff out, right? We're trying to people please, right? And we're wearing ourselves thin, and we don't know how to recover from it and keep ourselves going. We're giving. And you know what? Kudos to you for doing that inventory thing. You and I have talked about that a lot over the years with me, many times, right? What are you caring about? Where are your attention at? Go ahead.
Right now, it's work stuff and then family stuff first, obviously. Family above everything, and then the work stuff. And then right now we're working on the vets pool, which we'll talk about here in a few. But I've spent a lot of time this last year really focusing on me and continuing my mental health journey, because, it's been a bunch of years, like 15 years now, 12, 15 years. I don't know, that I work on myself. And I found some new therapies through the VA in Cleveland at the pain management clinic. It's chronic based therapy, or chronic pain based therapy is what they call it, CBT. You learn a lot about how your pain and trauma affects your mental health and all of those things. And man, it was a really good process. Dr. Semerich, I think that's how you say her name. I don't really know. Very, very awesome human being. But she definitely helped me through some of the little things. And then I switched over to what's it called? Biofeedback, in the same office, just a different doctor. And it's teaching me a lot about how you're breathing, how you center yourself, how you calm yourself down, how to go from a heart rate up real high to bring yourself down. And I tell everybody, anyone that wants to listen, that shit's amazing. If you can figure out how to control your breathing, then you can control your heart rates. You can bring yourself out of the tunnel rapidly, and I highly recommend it to anybody. It's been fantastic. I mean, I still got a ways to go. I think I'm gonna sign up for ketamine therapy because I want to try to help with the back pain as well as the psychological effects that ketamine therapy has. So I'll definitely come back and fill you guys in on that one.
Please.
So I don't mind being an experiment. I think it's kind of fun to an extent. As long as I'm not getting prodded all over the place.
I think you and I are the type of person we want to know what's happening, right? We want to know why,
Yeah,
right? Okay, why is this happening? Right? I don't just want to accept that, hey, I've got pain back here and it hurts when I do this and this makes it. Why is it happening?
Got it, brother.
Right? So, you've had some explosions,
100%.
you've had some things happen. I've hit my head a bunch of times working on aircraft and baseball and accidents, right? So is that contributing to it, right? Is it really, like, I want to know all these things, and it can be, it can make your head feel like just 1,000 rubber bouncy balls going on inside. And I like the term that they're using, which is chronic based therapy, right? Chronic pain therapy, because the brain has this much capacity, and when you're in pain, now you have this much capacity,
Reduced,
right? You're significantly reduced, and you and I go through this a lot, right? Back injuries, hardware, right? You got pins and shit in your leg, and I got rods and screws in my back and a fake shoulder, and once you have those injuries or repair the back, the stressor happens above that injury now, because now this part is stable and it's more detrimental to the spine above it, right? So you're going to have more injuries. So having that therapy, having those things that, hey, look, this is now what's going to happen, right? This is the progression that's going to be. Here's how you can minimize the impact and maximize your efforts, right? It's a great, like we said, that if you're struggling, talk about it, because, dude, how else are you going to learn, right? You've never been as old as you've been right now, right? You've never been this far in your life. You've never had these things. So how are you supposed to know? So kudos to you for going back, and you're getting all this through the VA, right?
Yeah, that's all through the VA. TikTok Gaming. I'm not sure what the person's name is, but he said box breathing. And you know what? That was one of the first things that she told me. And I've done that in the past, but I didn't know it was called box breathing. And I didn't do 4 seconds. I would do 3 seconds. So 3 in, 3 hold, 3 out, hold 3, and then start the cycle again. But yeah, box breathing, all of those things. And then Josh commented, breathing exercises are key to a lot of things in life. That's the absolute truth. You watch UFC fighters, you see them guys, that's intense, that those dudes can get their heart rate sky high, and in the corner, in the in between the rounds or whatever, they're able to bring themselves back down to 0 or close to 0. That's phenomenal. And it's all through breathing exercises that they do. Diaphragm breathing. Yeah, it's from the training too. Diaphragm breathing is way important. I'm a chest breather, so when I breathe, my chest rises and falls every time. So I'm trying to refocus and retrain my brain to breathe through my diaphragm so that I get more air, more health to the benefits of it and whatnot. So yeah, it's important. And the last thing,
there is something to be said that we are an animal, we are an organism, that we have to be trained, we have to be taught, we have to learn, right? It's ChatGPT has come a huge help working through the mental health, since I don't really have a circle of friends, so much GPT. Well,
we'll be your circle, homie. Whoever you are, I don't.
That's Michael Watkins. He joined in. He joined in a couple weeks ago. Got to talk to him real quick. His story, his to tell. But it's on there from a couple weeks ago, and
I'll check it out.
I don't want to get into
the last thing that I wanted,
right, but I don't want to get into too much of Mike's story, but you know what? He's working through it, right? And he found us, and we're really glad he's joining.
Good for you.
Yeah, man.
Hey, that's step one, dude. That's step one is swallowing your pride to reach out and ask for help. Step 1. Step 2 sucks, because that's when you actually got to do the work to actually get better. That's the worst part. So it's easy to, like, I'll hold somebody's hand, I'll put my hand on your shoulder, I'll stand right beside you, and I'll watch you walk through the door, and then I will follow directly behind you and sit with you no matter what, man. But if you don't make that mental choice to want help, you'll never get it. You'll never get the value of the time that you're spending in there. And that was the last thing that I was going to talk about before we move to the pool situation. Time is the one thing you will never get back, people. The one thing that you cannot replace no matter what. I have chosen to spend my time with people that I want to be around, people that I want to talk to, people that I want to, engage in life. I don't have time to do all the nonsense and all the BS with, the fake friends or the fake social, things, the activities or whatnot. I don't got time for that. I want to maximize every single second of every single day for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and whatever that
is.
means, right?
So,
if that means I'm sitting on my back porch playing with my dog, then I'm sitting on the back porch playing with my dog.
That's what I choose to do. You tell me what to do.
I'm not on
That's
TikTok. Right. I'm taking care of my plants. I'm watching the hummingbirds, whatever it is. Right? That's your boundary. That's your piece, and nobody's going to mess with that. So, hey, thanks for the buddy check this morning. I hope it helped out some people that were listening. Thanks to the T-Bone for joining in. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you being here. Hey, so let's talk about the project, right? We at Save 22 acquired a building known as the Carroll County Wellness Center back in 2018. In 2019. In 2020, we actually had funds set and ready to go to rehab this facility. When COVID hit, we all know how bad that was for 18, 20 months or whatever. We are in the process. You and I have attended a bunch of meetings. We've had some help with some government organizations, some non-government organizations to help out. And we got the roof started. So the roof got started to be repaired. That's one of the major steps, right? And you happened to go out there this week or last weekend. Tell me what happened when you got out there, man, if you don't mind.
Yes. So I get a call. The contractor, Andy Gonda, let me back up. So I found a grant that working with Omega is a state organization. Don't ask me what the acronym is because I really don't remember. But Omega, what they do is they find and facilitate grants is what it comes down to. So through a process previously where we were trying to get about $13 million to redo the whole facility all at once and just get it nailed out. We didn't get that, but we pulled so many heartstrings in the process of that grant that the state of Ohio Department of Development, Department Ohio ODOD, Ohio Department of Development. Yeah. So ODOD chipped in $100,000, $100,000 and $500. I don't know why the extra 500 was in there, but they picked, we had 3 submissions for contracts for the roof, and Omega picked ACG, which is Andy Gonda, local guy, based on the contract requirements for the state, which is way above my head. I have no idea how to read some of that language in there. They're like, yeah, we'll take care of that. I said, fantastic. Thanks, guys. Just let me know who I got to call. So Andy Gonda shows up Monday morning to do some work. And sure enough, there was some glass broken. And I remembered I was... So I had a lot going on the previous week. My father had passed, and I was not really paying attention a lot, but I actually did have another phone call from a guy named Jared, who is always out there at the facility. He's like, hey dude, your windows are broken. The door's broken. You need to check that out. And I completely forgot about it. Absolutely forgot. So Monday I get a message from Andy. Hey dude, you should come out here. Sent me pictures. And, of course I reply with some explicatives and, like, all right, I'm on the way. So we go out there, and the door was shattered out. It was kind of crazy. I don't know why or what would prompt somebody to do any of that stuff, but it was shattered from the inside, which tells us that they were absolutely inside the building. There were some other windows on the backside broke out, and there was a wheelchair and another chair in the deep end of the empty swimming pool. So I kind of secretly hoped that they were in the wheelchair and then went down the deep end into the ramp, but I don't think they did. There you go. Omega, Ohio Mideastern Government Association. Thanks, Josh. So yeah, we got the notification. So I head out to the pool, call the police, do the report. That way we can do all the things. And as soon as this hit the internet, hit social media or anything, literally within minutes, we're getting phone call. I'm getting phone calls. We're getting text messages, and through a very good friend, Tim Arnold. I know he's not one that wants to sign all the credit and all that stuff. He just likes facilitating shit. I can't even talk right now. But he got us in touch with a couple of people that I'm going to read this so that I definitely do not mess it up. DJ Marlett. I don't know how you say his last name, but it's DM Roofing, Siding, and Windows out of, they're actually in Ashland, Polk, Ohio, Ashland. But he's got family ties to the county. He told me his sister is actually lives in Carrollton. He's got family in Malvern, and the dude just bought the Magnolia racetrack. So he's looking to rehab that facility, get that back open and running. But he reached out and he basically said, hey, I'm going to come fix this. Just, can you meet me? And I said, yeah, like, holy cow. Dude.
Whoa, we just lost Jason. Jason just dropped off. So we're going to make this work. So DM Roofing, DJ Marlott jumped in. And then TikTok, yeah, Mike's over there in Ashland as well. We'll get Rutledge back on here in a minute. But what happened with DJ was he literally within 2.5 hours, he had the glass block ready. He had the doors and the windows, and they're going to handle it all for us. My understanding is as of no charge. So big thanks to DJ DM Roofing and Siding for helping us out with that all the way from. There we go. We got him back in now.
Phone. So
hey, buddy.
You know, there we go. Now I'm back. Hey, you see me. I don't know what I said last, but we got Cardinal Glass. They're coming on board to provide the material. Yep. And DM Roofing and Siding, like I said, out of Ashland, Polk somewhere over there is where he lives. They're definitely coming in to do the work for us and volunteering all their time and helping us out. So huge shout out to all of them guys and gals that are helping. You know, it's little things like that make the difference for me in some of these instances. Right. And I did an interview with Fox 8 News, and one of the things he asked me, he's like, so the feedback that you're getting, like, what do you feel about that? And I said, well, you know, I think it's a testament to the love and dedication that people have for Safe 22, because immediately we're getting reached out for people volunteering to help. And there was a ton of people that sent us messages. There's a few Facebook groups right here in Carroll County that, you know, they're all like, hey, what can we do? Where can I do this? And I'm like, holy cow, like, what are we going to do? So we figured it out, but you know, they reached out, and I think it's more of a testament to the love of the facility as well. So that swimming pool is a staple in Carroll County.
It's a historical building.
Over the years, it's a historical building. We'll never tear it down, or at least as long as I'm alive, I will not have any say in whether we tear that facility down, because it was built by the veterans back in the day in the late 60s, and it was completed in 72 with the roof and the building structure around it, all by veterans out of their own pocket. They didn't pay for nothing.
Bring your family connection in there too. You have a family connection to the building of that. Come on, man, do it.
Yeah, so there's a major family connection to this facility too. When they built the pool, I won't go into the long history, but the short version is my grandmother was born in Czechoslovakia, moved to Germany when the Russians invaded, met my grandfather during the war, came back to the States. They lived in Scio for a little while. And the only job in Germany at that time was to be a welder, basically working on tanks and all that kind of stuff. So my grandmother, from what I'm told, welded all of the stainless in the pool along with some other stuff. So you think about that. So welding stainless steel, I can't do that. Like, I can weld some ish, but she's out there welding stainless steel. I thought that was pretty dope. And then in 2009, my son's class. So every year in 5th grade, the kids from the elementary school would go to the swimming pool, because that's where they learn how to swim as a sponsorship program through the school. The school at the time actually maintained the facility. But it was important for them, the vets, to build the facility, because kids were drowning in strip pits. They were drowning in the mines and all that kind of stuff around the area, because there was nowhere to go to swim. So kids are dying. They didn't want that no more, the veterans. So they built the pool. And then a few years later, they got the roof and the building put around it. And that's what was the attempt of why the schools would do that. So my son's class was actually the last class that was able to get their swim lessons at the swimming pool, at the vet school. So yeah, I got some personal to that. And just like every other kid in Carrollton, Tuesday was free day. So every Tuesday there's 1,000 kids packed into that pool, and Wednesday that pool was disgusting. We called it National Bath. Actually, it was so gross.
Carroll County Bath,
you know, the facility, it's basically all the surrounding areas too. But But basically, man, that facility is it's in shambles, and it's going to take millions to fix it. Unfortunately, there's no ADA compliance. It hasn't had power running anything since 2009. Was the last time it had water in it. There's a ton of work that has to be done, but we got to start somewhere. And having the windows broke and getting this, trying to turn a shitty situation into a positive to gain some publicity and all that stuff. I'm not a fan of that, but it's we have to.
We have
to. That's all there is to it. We want everyone to see, like, look, we've got this awesome facility, and I just need real people with real money that want to help put this thing back together. Real commitments, man, not just pipe dreams of, yeah, I can help and whatnot, but that's fantastic. But if you work for a company, look, I'm looking at all of you right now. If you work for a company that needs a giant tax write-off, send me a message, please.
Right. Or call us at Save 22.
So, yeah. Yes, yeah, definitely reach out to Save 22. I'm not on the admin side anymore, so send a message to the Facebook page, and they'll come to me, and we'll go from there.
There, so, we got the emails up now, right? You can email me at 2 o'clock right
here.
You can go down here to the website, save22.vet, right?
So, and for those that are curious, I talked to Josh, and Josh was able to throw up a web page pretty quick. Actually, it's pretty awesome. If you go to the Save 22 page, you look across the top, it'll say Wellness Center. Click on that, and you can see all the drawings. You can see the plans. You can see the cost predictions that the engineers put together. That was 2 years and a half ago now. That was all the costs that they acquired or thought that it would take to redo the entire facility. You can see the phased approach of how we want to do this thing. But we just need the money to make it happen. So we're
I'll find that web link, and I'll put it up in the or actually Josh is texting. Hey,
Josh, can you throw
that link in chat, would you please, to the website? So Mike was saying that he's an IT guy with 12 years of IT and cybersecurity. I don't know what all that stuff means. That's your neck of the woods there, Jay. But
yeah, I got you, brother. I have some of the similar stuff. That's actually what I do for a living too, is cybersecurity. I probably about the same time. Unfortunately, the pool has zero power, so there's no power out there and all of that good stuff. So yeah, I don't know that's going to do any good. So we're going to look at trying to get some ring cameras, solar power, stuff like that, and kind of go from there. Look up for messages.
Yeah, Josh said he had it. I don't see it, but I'm going to keep moving here. So.
Check the private chat.
Oh, it's in the private chat.
I don't know. That's
not in the private chat.
You might have posted it on Facebook or something.
Hey, so this is really cool doing the live, with people all over the place, trying to link and doing stuff. So, Jay, I know you got a. I
was about to be like, hey, I love you guys, but I'm in the VA parking lot right now. It's about to go to see my doc. Actually, I think I'm going to see my shrink today. I'm not real sure. Mental health's important, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, kids of all ages. Mental health's important. So make sure you take care of yourself. Much love to everybody. Please reach out, say hello, whatever. If you need something, say hey.
Yep, drop us a line. Jay, thanks for joining us, brother. Thank you very much.
Love you.
See ya.
All right, brother. We'll see you.
So Jay's going to drop off, and we're going to bring in our buddy, our new friend, AJay Orr. So AJ's been sitting in the background for a little bit here, listening to all us gabble, gabble, gabble. I got to meet AJay a couple of weeks ago. Great human being. Who is now the COO, CEO. You're the owner operator of a nonprofit known as Ohio Veterans Collaborative. Welcome to Tuesday Talk, AJay. Thanks for joining us, brother. Nope, muted. I got you muted. My fault. There we go.
Yeah, I had no control, man. I had no control.
So hey, thanks for sitting in, man. Really appreciate you. I'm really excited about your organization and how it can help our listeners and Save 22 people, because as you and I have spoken, a lot of the struggles that we as veterans face when we get out is, how do I take those military skills that I learned? How do I take those experiences and how do I go get a job? And I don't just want a job. I want gainful employment. I want to build towards a retirement. I want to make a difference. So tell me how this Ohio Veterans Collaborative came about, man.
Yeah, so I got involved in the veteran support space. So I'm an Army veteran, single enlistment, 97 to '01. And I got involved probably around 2019 whenever I heard it's 2018, whenever I heard the statistic that 22 veterans commit suicide every day. And that broke my heart, but it also resonated with me because in the civilian world they think that if you served in the military that everybody's struggling with PTSD. And like I said, single enlistment, did all my time stateside, never got deployed overseas, never saw combat, but it still took me 3 to 4 years to really acclimate to civilian lifestyle.
Oh yeah.
And like I had mentioned to you in a previous conversation, John, um, for me, the transition out sucked. It was it, the military. I tell people all the time, the military does a great job of taking civilians and turning us into soldiers, but they do a shitty job of preparing these soldiers to re-enter back into the civilian world. And I just felt ill-equipped. I got out and I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know where I fit in. I didn't know where I belonged. I didn't know how to find those things because the military didn't train me to do that. The military trained me to execute. They gave me my mission, they gave me my target, they gave me my resources, and they just said, go out and execute at a high level. Well, Roger that, I can do that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I wasn't trained to figure out everything else. And so I felt ill-equipped coming into the private sector. And my biggest thing when I look back on it, I struggle the most with isolationism, just isolating on myself, not knowing where to go. I think somebody had mentioned it before. One of your listeners had mentioned it before. He just didn't have a group. That was it. That's where I was at. I didn't have a group. Sure, I have family. I've got two parents. I've got siblings, but they didn't understand what I was going through. They didn't understand the challenge I was at because I went from being in an environment that was highly functioning, had purpose, and I was surrounded by people 24/7, 365 that function and operated the same way that I did. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, the military is a unique environment in that we could hate each other, but I knew when it was time to go to work, I could trust you to do your job and protect my life, and you could trust me to do the same.
Right.
And you don't find that anywhere else in any other organization, even in your own families sometimes. And so when you come from that environment, and I don't care if if you spent 4 years in it or if you spent 20 years in it, once you've been ingrained and connected in that, and then you're ripped out, because that's essentially what happens when you transition out. You're ripped out of that, and it's just like, here's your DD 214, here's your bus pass or plane ticket. Good luck to you. And it's up to you to figure all that stuff out. And so, there were two times in my life where I thought about committing suicide because I didn't feel like I had any more left to offer, and I felt
Right.
like this world would be better off without me. And that's why I got involved. And so I was like, okay, what did I struggle with? And so everything that I do, I look at myself as the example,
Mhm.
and say, okay, how can I solve the problems? If I could go back and talk to myself, what would I do? What problems would I try to solve for myself? And there are things that we lose when we transition out that we don't realize that we're losing until we're there. First is our sense of purpose. And so that's why we talk about finding gainful employment, finding something, not finding a job, but finding a career, something that you can feel good about, that you can plug into, so that you're working towards something, and you take value and pride in the work in which you're doing. So one, can I help you find a sense of purpose outside of the uniform? Number two, can I connect you with a community? Because like I said, my biggest challenge was isolationism, trying to figure out all this stuff on my own. And in the military, we know that we're only as strong as our weakest link. But when we get out, we abandon that. We feel this mantra of we have to figure it out on our own, like pull ourselves up from the bootstraps, and that's not the way in which the world works. And so why do we put this on ourselves? And it's a mental thing. It was something that I did. I mean, I mentally put it on myself. It was like, well, I'm strong enough. I can will myself through it. And sure, I can. But at the same time, when you hit your head against the wall so many daggone times trying to figure things out, and you think you've got it all figured out, and you're moving this direction, and boom, you hit a roadblock and then roadblock and then roadblock. And because you didn't see them coming, that's when depression starts to seep in. And so, um, what I looked at was there are hundreds of thousands of veterans out here that have proverbially hit their head against the wall that will happily show you, hey, here's a path, here's a game plan, here's what you can avoid. What are you trying to accomplish? And it's interesting because I tell people, I say, being part of the military community, I can go anywhere in the world, and as long as I can find another veteran, then I know that I'll be okay, because I've never had a veteran put me in a bad situation intentionally. They've always been there to help out, to point in the right direction, to answer questions, to share resources, share guidance and information, share a couch if you need it. And so that's the essence of the Ohio Veterans Collaborative. It's how do we help Ohio veterans find success outside of the uniform through collaboration. There are, a lot of people don't realize that Ohio has the 5th largest veteran population in the country. And so how do we bring the veterans together? One, so we can better support each other, but then two, so that we can connect them to opportunities and resources that they didn't know existed. There are organizations out there, the VA does a lot, and I'm glad that you guys are spotlighting that and talking through that. With the work in which the VA does, but the VA is overrun. We all know this. We've known it for decades. They're overrun. Their resources are stretched thin. And the other thing is there are a boatload of nonprofits out there that, provide different services. The challenge is, how do we find them? And so that's the goal of the Ohio Veterans Collaborative, is to say, hey, as a veteran, one, you don't have to figure this stuff out on your own. Let's connect you with opportunities and resources. There are a ton of training programs that we qualify for that we don't even know exist. I use, once again, using myself as the example, I've got my project management certification.
I'm glad you brought that up. I just wanted to talk about that because so many of us think we don't qualify for these jobs, right? You need a certification.
100%.
You need this, you need that. And your experience and my experience, 23 years in the military, 3 different AFSCs. I was a first sergeant. I was a flight engineer. I keep seeing all this project management stuff. I worked in the FAA as a government employee for, I don't remember how many years now, but I see this project management stuff. So there's actually a program out there to get your program management certification because of your military service, right?
Correct.
So can you talk about that real quick? You said that was your experience, and now here you are.
Yeah.
So let's use that as an example.
So PMI, the Project Management Institute, is the governing body for the project management certification, PMP, as well as a litany of other project management, risk management related type of certifications that are kind of industry standards. And so a number of years ago, they put together a program where they recognized that if you were in the military, doesn't matter what rank you were or anything else like that, we are trained in doing project management. A lot of which we do and a lot of which we function and operate is project management. We just don't call it that in the military. And so you have to learn the different language, because the way in which they talk to it and refer to it in the civilian world is different. But in order to get your project management certification, you have to have X amount of documented project management experience hours. And so I worked for 3 years to get that experience and those hours. Then you go through a training course. You have to go through a training course, and then you can sit down and take your project management certificate or take the test to get your certification. Well, I didn't know that program existed. So like I said, I worked for 3 years to get experience that I didn't have to work through, because they would have counted my military career and service as that prerequisite.
You kind of delayed your certification by 3 years. Now that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is to say you got invaluable experience as a civilian in project management prior to taking the test. That's one.
I did.
But you don't have to do that, is 100%. I guess what I'm getting at. Right?
Yeah, and that was my thing. I mean, it was just the frustration of, like, for 3 years I worked to get something that I already had. I think that's the way that I was frustrated. It was like afterwards I was like, what's done is done, but if I can help somebody else, like, hey, this isn't a big barrier to entry for you. Like, you already have 80% of the battles already done. The other 20% is going through a training course, and the training course really just teaches you and shows you how the civilian world communicates and relates project management. And once you understand their verbiage, and then there's some different formulas that they use and everything else like that. But once you understand that, then it's an easy migration to go ahead and get in your certification. Now, you still have to put in some work, but but at the same time, 80% of that journey, of that daunting, could be a barrier to entry, you already have it.
Already
And
there.
so that's the thing.
Right. You already made it past that hard part, right? Now
100%.
you just got to get those last few steps in, man. So kudos to you for figuring it out. And man, so many of us deal with problems and frustrations, and we don't know where to go. And then when we fix them, we're just like, all right, whatever. But you've taken it to another level where you're like, look, let me share this, right? Let me share this. Let me help the others. And I'm glad that you said that you were a 4-year one-termer. We talked about it, you and I, privately, 97 to 01, and you did not have any deployments. You don't have any combat time, right? So I want to bring that up because it's not just the combat vets. It's not just the guys that struggle with their injuries. It's all of us, right? And well, I mean, the majority of us have some sort of struggle when we get out. Mentally, you said that you had a couple times where you were ready to end it all. Do you mind talking about that real quick, and what you noticed was going on with you, and what you did to pull yourself back out of it? How, like that, because it's not all of a sudden, right?
No.
It's not an all of a sudden thing. I just don't feel like being here anymore. It's a progression, right? There can be little things that just keep piling up. Like you said, you keep banging your head against the wall. You take another turn, you hit another dead end, you hit another dead end. And it just keeps feeling like nothing you do is working. What was your story like?
So my path was all about self-worth. I didn't feel like I had any. Being in my mind, I felt like I had peaked, because I get out, in the military as part of something bigger than myself, as part of a high functioning team in an organization, protecting the ideation of, protecting freedom and democracy against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So I'm part of a big ideation. I'm part of this big machine. I have purpose, and even the little things that I did in the military, they had purpose. And I saw the bigger vision of, I was a commo guy in the military, but I saw how the little pieces that I played made a big impact in the overall whole. And so you have that vision of yourself. And then I got out and I couldn't find a job, because the military didn't teach me how to write a resume. And so my resume sucked. And so I wasn't even getting interviews. I wasn't even getting callbacks. And if I did get a callback, I interviewed terribly because I didn't know how to talk about myself, because the military conditioned me that it's not about me.
Right.
It's not I or me, it's we, us, and the team. And so when you sit down in a civilian conversation or interview, one of the first things they ask you, or one of the things that they ask you in that whole process is, well, give me a time when you had to overcome adversity, and what did you do to overcome, and this, that, and the other. I'm like, I wasn't used to talking about me and overcoming. It was we, and it was a team. And so I interviewed terribly. And, I was naive, coming out, because one of the reasons why I was a single enlistment guy was because my recruiter, I tested really high on the ASVAB. I had my pick of any job. I go into commo because, at that point in time, so we're talking 97, it's computers, it's tapping into satellites, all of this other stuff was my job function. And so my recruiter was like, hey, you're going into technology and you're going to have military experience. They're like, once you get out, it'll be easy for you to make $48,000-$60,000 a year, easy. And so as a young kid, early 20s, I'm looking at the military. I'm like, okay, well, I'm making $24,000 a year in the military. I can go make 48 to 60. Peace. I'm out of here. Well, what I didn't know, and what, hindsight being 2020, sure, I might have been able to make $48,000 a year if while I was in there, I got my education, I went and got my degree, or I got different certifications, and I would continue to progress.
Right.
But I didn't do that. Nobody told me those things, so I wasted those opportunities while I was in. But nonetheless, so when I got out, it was tough for me to find gainful employment. My first job was going through a temp agency where I was pulling cable and for Kentucky City, or for Kentucky State schools, because I'm originally from the Louisville, Kentucky area, and so I was working with a temp agency, going through schools throughout the state of Kentucky, pulling cable for different districts.
You were a
Like
go.
I could train a monkey to pull cable. Like I
Right.
was way overqualified for that.
Yep.
Not to mention the fact that the pay sucked, because I think I was making like 6.25 an hour.
Yep.
So I'm making no money. I'm way overqualified for the work that I'm doing. And because once again, I was a single enlistment guy, I didn't have a whole lot of money saved up. So I'm living back at my parents' house, so I went from being a human, I went from being an individual man, part of something bigger than myself, to relegating back to who I was back in high school, and then trying to figure out how to adult and be an adult again, with rules and everything pointing against me. And so those were the things that just beat me down, and I beat myself down mentally. I'm like, you're worthless. Like you've
Yeah.
peaked. You've peaked now. Like you've done all that you can do. This is what the rest of the world is left for you. You're not going to find gainful employment. It doesn't exist. Nobody's giving you a shot. And so that's where my path to depression started, was in my self-worth. And
Yeah.
then once again, that's whenever I realized, as I'm beating myself up, looking back on it now, I withdrew, and I started to become very isolated, and I found myself on this island. I was like, okay, how do I help? How do I help, bring the number of 22 down? Well, if I can keep people from getting on that island of isolationism, and beating themselves up on this island by themselves, and they're just in this echo chamber of their own heads, which that's the most dangerous place, is our own heads, because
So,
we are our biggest critics. We are our worst nightmare, because we beat ourselves up, harder than anybody else ever will. And it's interesting. I mean, and it's just human behavior. It's natural. It's nothing. It's not because we're broken because we're veterans. No, it's human behavior. Like,
so.
we will give everybody else the benefit of the doubt, but if we did the exact same thing, we'll give them mercy and grace all day, every day. It's like, oh, we understand. But if it was us, we brutalize ourselves like, you big damn dummy. Like, how did you mess this up so bad, and you're worthless? And it's like, if somebody else did the exact same thing, you would tell them it's okay. It's not that serious. So why can't we tell that to ourselves? And so
Right.
it's just training. It's just training ourselves to not be so hard on ourselves, man.
My brain lies to me more than anybody ever has. My brain lies
100%.
to me so much, right? About situations, about perceptions, about truth and reality. It's crazy. You got a boy named Steve Dibble. You know Steve?
I do, man.
Texted me, man. He's like, "Hey, man, that's my boy. That's
That
my
is
boy."
my dude.
Yeah, good dude right there. Good dude. So, hey, how do people get in touch with you? Right, we're gonna try to hook you up. Do you have workshops? Do you have a brick and mortar building? Are you all online? What do people need to bring to you to say, hey, I need some help finding a job, or what services are you providing?
So we're all online because we cover the entire state of Ohio. And so ohioveterans.org. I don't know how that domain was available, but if you go to ohioveterans.org, that's our website. And our focus is, once again, you can fill out a form, get connected. I would say that's where we start. And then you just let us know, hey, what challenges that you're dealing with. And then from there, we'll work with you to, connect to resources. We'll work with you if employment is what you're working on or struggling with. Then, so I run my full-time gig. What pays my bills is I run a cybersecurity company. I started back in 2012. So we're 13 years into this thing, and so I've made a boatload of connections in the business community, and everybody in the business world right now is screaming workforce. We're in an interesting time when it comes to our current workforce, because when people tell me, and business leaders tell me, that 80 to 90% of the battle is just getting people to show up ready to work, I'm like, have you thought about hiring veterans? I said, because I haven't met a veteran that doesn't show up to work. and that isn't committed to getting the job done. And everybody tells me they would love to hire veterans, they just don't know how to reach them. I'm like, well, part of the problem is, your hiring practices are broken, your hiring processes are broken, and so we work with businesses to help fix those things. And so the way in which we try to function and operate is to circumvent the traditional hiring process. And so we have a platform that will take your military career and translate it into civilian language and job speak, but it shows us all the jobs that we have available and what you match up to. And so then we just make direct introductions to the hiring managers. So you don't have to fill out an application on their website. We send it over to them and say, hey, here's a veteran that meets all your criteria. And at that point in time, we get you a shot at the hoop. And then we also have other organizations, nonprofits that we work with, and sometimes just volunteers that will do interview prep. I know that the VA and there are other, once again, there's tons of organizations out there that will help do this interview prep and all these different things. We just don't know that they exist, or we don't know how to tap into them. And that's what we try to do for you.
That's pretty awesome. TikTok gaming on here on YouTube. I know you don't have that pulled up right now, but he's saying he's an IT guy too, and he was fired back in February, and he was fired because of his mental health. I would strongly recommend, Mike, you get a hold of AJ. I put the link over in chat. OhioVeterans.org is right there. At least talk to him. AJ is legit. He's no shit, right?
Yeah, and I would love to learn more about that. I'd love to learn more about that situation, because that's not right.
It is not right. It is not right.
And so we've got connections at the state house, and those that are advocating, because whenever I started this thing a couple of years ago, I went down. I was talking to people at the state house, and they were just like, AJ, why do we need another organization like this? Like, the Ohio. Don't get me wrong, the Ohio Department of Veteran Services, they do a lot of stuff. I mean, Ohio tries to do a lot of stuff to support veterans, to recruit veterans, to recruit service members. Hey, you're getting out, come to Ohio. It's a great place to be, and we are veteran friendly. And so they do a lot in that sense. And the one thing that I tell them, I was like, whenever I talk to service members that have gotten out within the last 5 months, let alone the last 1 to 3 years, and they're still dealing with the same damn shit and same damn struggles that I dealt with 20 years ago, it just tells me that all the stuff that we're doing is not moving the needle. I was like, and that's all I'm focused on, is how do we move the needle? How do we make an impact? How do we make sure that that the service members and these veterans are getting access to the things that they need, not just because everybody focuses on jobs. I'm like, look, you have to treat the whole person. Like, there's more than just jobs. Like, sometimes there's transportation issues, sometimes there's housing issues, but once again, there are all these different programs that exist. How do we bring them all together? And that's my goal.
Right.
That's our job, is to bring them all together and be like, okay, if I solve this problem with this one, but I don't address this one, then it does no good. So let's address them all together so that we can get you back on your feet and get you moving down the road. And then once I get you moving down the road, guess what happens? You are more than happy and very eager to turn around and help somebody else come down that road. And that's how we make it happen, man. One at a time, each one reach one, and we build and develop this community. 100%.
Step by step. Mike's on here talking TikTok gaming. He wanted to connect with you. So I'm going to go ahead and
give him my email.
Give him your email. I'll send it to him. He emailed me through Tuesday Talk right here at the bottom of the screen. Anybody that's got any information, wants anything, if you're watching on TikTok or Facebook and you don't have the chat, go ahead and email me tuesdaytalk@save22.vet. And I can connect you with AJ at OhioVeterans.org. He is the Ohio Veterans Collaborative. And I'll tell you, the way that he has approached this by going directly into the employers and saying, look, what do you need? I have these people. It kind of streamlines the process, right? You're getting a look right at the hiring people without having to go through hey, fill out this online application, go sit over at HR. We're going to run it through an AI program to see if all the words match, right? And God forbid you don't have the right words in there. And AJ's eliminated that for you. He's given you a foot in the door right off the bat. So OhioVeterans.org is a great place to start. Mike, I'll get that stuff over to you through AJ. and you guys can connect. We did connect AJ with the Sam Center, right? A lot of people here know about the Sam Center here in Masson, Ohio. Great resource for veterans. I think AJ's organization would be a great learning opportunity for people. You know, we could do a coffee and conversation with AJ one morning for a couple hours and just sit and get information. AJ, I know you're a busy man. I appreciate you taking the time this morning to share a little bit of your story in ohioveterans.org. We had you waiting. We had that little update with Jason, but
Brother, this is great.
this
I love everything that you're doing, man. I love everything that you're doing.
thank you. Like you said, man, we're just trying to be a network, right? We just want to try and be a resource, right? You just know that there are other things out there. The VA, the VSC, the DAV, the VFW, all them acronyms, man, they're not a one all be all, right? Even wounded warriors got issues, right? There's plenty of organizations out there. Albert popped on earlier. Albert's down on vacation with Love Kitten. That would be his spouse of, like, I don't know, 26, 27 years. And he's still hopping on here just to say, hey, he's our counterpart with motorsports, and a former board president and vice president. So, you know, we're all still just trying to make a difference somehow, some way. That is our purpose now, and it's okay, right?
Well, and I think one of the things that you kind of touched on, and maybe you didn't realize, but I think when we look at, we're all different people. We all resonate with different messages. You and I could say the exact same thing, and it's going to resonate different with different groups.
Right.
And so I don't think that I think it's okay to have all these different outlets. You know, everybody, this is what pisses me off about the nonprofit space, is that as somebody who runs a for-profit company, I believe in competition. I believe competition is healthy. It drives the market space. It pushes innovation. But in the nonprofit space, where the focus is and the mission is helping said group, whatever that group of individuals is, there should be way more collaboration, not as much competition, because the only people that suffer are the people on the mission that you say that you're trying to help. And so I don't care if maybe I'm not the voice that resonates with you. Cool, but let me connect you with as many people as I can, because I just need you to find the voice that resonates with you, the group, the path. I'm not a fishing god, but hey, there are people out there that love fishing. They find therapy in it. That's just not my thing. Cool. Right. I want to make sure I can connect you to that resource. Equine therapy and horses. You know, I like horses. I think it's cool, but I'm not going to look for that for solace and peace of mind. But there are people that resonates for them. Fantastic. As many different outlets that exist out there, I want to make sure that we have access to them and that we're pointing you guys in those directions. Because once again, the challenge that I had whenever I was coming out is that there were all these things out there that I had available to me, these training education programs that I had available to me, all these different resources I had available to me that I didn't know existed, and I didn't know how to find them. And if I could have known these things back then it would have saved me a lot of headache. It would have saved me a lot. It would have saved me from the depression. Like, fighting depression is hard. You know, and your guy earlier mentioned, he's like, you know, the first step is you have to want it. I think the first step really is just admitting that you've got a problem and being okay with that. Like, I had to admit that I've got a problem. Like, there are things I have to work through, because my view of myself is broken. And so I have to start to fix that. I have to fix my mind. I have to fix the way in which I look at the world. And that's okay. Like, admitting and understanding that, hey, I'm not perfect and I don't have it all put together. I think that was the hardest part for me, was to say, AJ, you don't have it all put together. You don't have this figured out, and you are struggling mightily. So what are your options? You can either give this thing up, and it is what it is, or you can try to reach out for some help and let people know, hey, I'm struggling over here. Like, I don't have it all put together. I put on a great face and facade, but I do not have it all put together. I'm drowning over here. And I don't know where to go. That was the hardest part for me, was that step. Because once I could admit and I could let it come out of my mouth that I'm struggling and I'm drowning over here and that I need help, well, then once the hands came, then it was a lot easier for me to take the step. The hardest part was for me to admit to myself and to say it verbally that I've got a problem, that I need help. For me, that was the hardest part. After that, taking the steps became a lot easier, because I'd already admitted to myself that I don't have it put together, and that I've got issues.
Yeah. Yeah. I can. Yeah. You hit it right. Like we make ourselves more depressed by thinking about the depressive things, right? And we don't realize the good stuff, right? Like I was my suicidal ideation time. I had forgotten that I was married. I was retired from the military. I had a wife and 3 kids, right? I had a good house. I had the 2-car garage, the 1.6 dogs, right? The 3.5, whatever it was. Everything that I had wanted as a kid, right? But because of the way I had ended my military service and what was going on with the VA at the time, it's all done now. I want everybody to be clear. That was a temporary setback at that time. But because of that, I forgot all the good shit. I got locked into the, well, man, I really screwed up and now I'm going to lose this, this, and this. Well, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe you stand up and go, no, what you're doing is wrong. Let me ask this guy who's been through that before. And that's what it was. As soon as I opened my eyes, I went down, my suicidal ideation happened on a Sunday, and I went to an AA meeting. I called an AA buddy, Rick Rogers or Randy Rogers, and I said, bro, I'm effed up. Like, I don't know what's happening right now, but I'm losing my shit and I need a meeting. Are you going to be at the Sunday night meeting? Yes. And I went, right? And I no idea what's going on in my head. I have no clear path other than I need to go to this meeting and listen, right? I can talk as much as I want, but the more I talk, the less I listen, right? So I went to that meeting. I hung out with them till 10, 11 o'clock at night. I came home. I got up the next morning. No, I still feel like shit. I'm going to call the VA. Hey, man, this is what happened. Okay, please hold. What? Wait a minute. What? Please hold. All right, let's figure this out. Well, I didn't get an answer from them that I liked. I didn't get an answer from them that I wanted. So I called another guy, right? And I called another guy. Finally, someone said something that made sense. And I think it might have been Hacker. He said, bro, you can walk into your local doctor's office, tell them how you are right now, and they will see you. You can go to the emergency room, tell them what's going on, tell them you're a vet, and they will see you. Sure enough, man, I must have looked like shit because I walked into my doctor's office and they pulled me right to the back and said, what's going on? And I told them, and we sat there and I cried for 45 minutes. And she said, I'm going to give you a couple of these. They're only for a couple of days. They're just to kind of calm you down. And then I want you to call this lady, right? This lady is a former VA psychologist. She now works for the medical system up here in Canton. She understands the VA, and I want you to call her and get an appointment. And that started it off, right? So number one, talk about the problem, but number two, be willing to shut up and listen to somebody tell you where to go.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have the answer because all that shit that you've been trying isn't working, and it led you to where you are right now, which is absolute and utter confusion. So why not take a chance and listen to what somebody else is telling you to do? It might work, it might not, but it's not what you've been doing. So let's give it a shot.
Right.
Right. Right. So, man, kudos to you, dude. Really, kudos to you. TikTok, Mike's been saying he's been putting in apps, nothing even with over a decade experience sucks and is draining when you already battle every day with the other shit. Yeah, you're right, man. It does.
Yeah.
It does. And you feel like you're stuck in a loop. So let's get you trying something else. So, as soon as I get off of this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to email AJ and you, and we're going to hook you two up, and hopefully we'll get some options for you, right? AJ's one of these guys, man. If he says he's going to do it, he's going to do it, and he'll definitely give you the opportunity, right, to
100%.
to help yourself, right? He's going to give you that network for you to use. So the bottom line is it'll come down to you doing the work, but it'll be there. It'll be there. I promise you that.
My goal is to get you shots at the hoop, man.
That's it. Just put you at the free throw line, man. Give you a shot. Give you a layup, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to talk about, right? My avenue, my outlet has been motorsports. I had forgotten that I loved motorsports so much because of all the other stuff that I was going through, until one day Albert called me up and said, go have fun at the racetrack. I don't want to go have fun at the racetrack. I want to be involved. I want to have my hands dirty. I don't just like to go watch. Well, what did that turn into, man? Look at where I'm at now, right? I'm taking guys to races at the NHRA level, the IHRA level. We've taken guys to the Daytona 500, dirt late model racing, Eldora Speedway for the Dream with dirt late models. And just being able to share that experience with others is what is really the exciting part, right? I feel so at home inside the pits or at the racetrack that it's not overwhelming to me anymore, right? It's a joy to see these guys and to be able to hand it. You saw it last 2 weeks ago when we handed out 250 pairs of tickets between the two of us to get guys down to the track. Now, obviously, 250 pairs of people didn't come, but I think there had to be at least 100 of them down in that hospitality tent that day, right?
Yeah.
So you know what? We had an impact on a bunch of people, and we got them out. And I see you smiling. I know you're smirking because you're happy about doing that too, right? It worked.
100%, man.
We have to give ourselves credit for that too, right? We can't sit back and go, okay, that's over and done with. All right, that was cool. No, man, that was very cool.
That was very cool.
Next, right? What are we going to do next? Well, we're going to be back at the IHRA the first weekend in September 3rd through the 6th. They're going to have all the series racing down there. And I'm sure that Tyler's going to reach out to us and we're going to do something else inside of Ohio for another 250 plus bets.
Yeah.
Right. And you know what? It might even be more. And as long as we keep showing up, somebody's going to come to us. Somebody's going to talk to us and say, you know what? I love what you're doing. I want to give you a 2, 3, 4, 5-year commitment, X amount of dollars. And I want to give you this type of support. But you got to keep going out. You got to keep asking. You got to keep talking. You can't just sit home. And Josh Link said it was pretty close to 100 people there. So Josh came down and was actually in the hospitality tent with them. So it was really, really cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I didn't get to go over to the hospitality tent. I actually got to get my hands dirty on the Top Fuel cars. So
nice.
I was I'm like, nah, I'm going to stay here with these guys. So, but really great time. AJ, thanks for taking the time this morning, about 45 minutes of your time. Thank you very much. We're going to get Mike hooked up with you. I do have a couple other things we need to talk about. You're welcome to hang on while I do this and comment as you will.
I will definitely hang on, man.
Awesome. I'd love to have you. So, we had a couple things go down in the last couple of weeks. We obviously had the IHRA event down in National Trail. It worked out very well for Lex. He got their first round win ever with Gerda as a crew chief. So, congratulations to Gerda. And I want you to know, Gerda, you are good enough. You are now a round winner in Top Fuel Dragsters. Second round didn't go so well, had some issues. But we're coming back from Milan, Michigan. We're actually going to be in Milan, Michigan this weekend at the Milan Dragway. I'll be up there Friday and Saturday, coming home on Sunday. We'll have the tent. We'll have a little bit of merch, some drag equipment that was used, some pistons. Right here, we got one signed by Lex June right there. Brand new piston. They'll be available for a donation to Save 22. Probably looking at about $25 to $35 for a piston. Just make a donation to us. You can do that on the QR code there in the pits. You can buy a T-shirt, whatever you want to do. This stuff is not free, ladies and gentlemen. It does cost a little bit of money to get the veterans there, to get the passes, to pay for the food, travel for our Save 22 guys, right? But we can always use a little help. Last weekend, I was at the Beach City car show, the Beach City Summer Bash. We had some good interactions there. Probably 30 individuals come up, said hello, shared some conversations. We raised, I think it was just short of $1,000 for that day. So that was pretty incredible. Thank you to everybody that donated over there at the Beach City car show. On Sunday, we sat at the Bolivar Army Navy in on a weekend, their monthly meeting. Those guys are cutting us another check next month. They are one of our biggest supporters in the donation area. They have supported us with over $10,000 donations in 2024, and they're set to far exceed that this year. So thank you to the Bolivar Army Navy Post 1982. You guys are really making a difference. We talked about that. We talked about that. We talked about that. Michigan Metal Fest. We're also doing a Michigan Metal Fest deal, and I do believe we have our winners for that. Let me pull up that info from Josh real quick. We have 2 winners for our Michigan Metal Fest tickets. Melissa Morgan from Myrtle Beach and Susie Alexander from New Jersey. Josh is going to be emailing you out your package later today, and you're going to be going to the 2025 Michigan Metal Fest in Battle Creek, Michigan at the Layla Arboretum in Battle Creek, Michigan, Saturday, August 16th. Gates will open at 10 o'clock. You're going to have a day packed with crushing riffs, relentless energy, and a lineup that'll melt your face off. I don't know if I want to go to a place that's going to melt my face off, but all right. Sounds pretty cool to me. So congratulations to Melissa and Susie on your stuff. I think I got that right. Yep, Melissa and Susie. So congratulations. Thank you for your donations. Enjoy the concert. Michigan Metal Fest, August 16th up in Battle Creek, Michigan. Battle Creek's a nice little town. Got up there with the kid over the July 4th weekend with the Thunderbirds. They have one of the largest fireworks, and this year they had a drone show at night for the air show and everything. The Thunderbirds were up. They had a festival. Really great people up there. Some of the donors for the air show actually took the Thunderbirds team out for a private day on the lake and a house and food and boat time. So kudos to everybody up there at Battle Creek. Really, really great people. This past weekend, we also made a stop at the Leatherneck Nationals. Leathernecks MC is a organization that is strictly for former Marines to ride motorcycles and raise awareness for everybody in their communities. They have several chapters all over Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. I saw some from North and South Carolina as well. Our friend Moto, who tragically is one of the 22, he took his life on February 24th. We got to enter him into the Valhalla chapter. It was a fitting tribute for such a special man who just couldn't make it anymore, right? And that's okay, right? We don't have any ill will towards Moto whatsoever. The love and the outpouring of support for everybody and all the chapters, and his mom and Derek and Uncle and Steve and Laura and everybody that was involved in that. Shout out to his chapter, the Bastards, up in Akron. They entered him to the Valhalla table. We would be remiss too if we didn't talk about Woody, my buddy Gadget, who succumbed essentially old age, right? He was blown up at 19 in Vietnam, and he had a real big impact on my growth and my development over the years, simply by doing what we're doing here, which is taking the time to sit and share his experiences with me and listen and guide me along in my own recovery. So very sad that Woody passed away. Woody's been entered into Valhalla as well. Man, and I hope I get to be there with them. You know, those are some really awesome individuals. So thank you to everyone that attended the Leathernecks National event. Obviously not a Save 22 event. A lot of those guys there do know who I am. I've had conversations with a lot of those guys. And I want to give a special shout out to a man who was struggling after Moto's death. And he took the step to say, I need some help. And I'll call him by his road name. His road name's Diesel. And I got to see Diesel this weekend. And I will tell you without a doubt, that man has changed his life. In the past 4 months, I don't know all that he's done, but I can tell you the way that he looked, the way that he was holding himself, standing up straight, shoulders back, smiling, having a good time. Even brought his wife over to introduce her to me. And, you know, we don't get that very often, right? We only end up knowing the guy that we don't catch, right? The guy that we don't reach. And as AJ said, sometimes things resonate differently with others, and it takes another voice to hear it. So I'm glad, whether it was my voice or another voice, that got you to change your perspective and keep on fighting. So Diesel, I love you, man. Proud of you. Very, very proud of you for all that you've done in the last 6 months, the work that you've done, the relationship that you're continuing to build with your wife and your family. Keep going, brother. Just keep going. Yeah, everything will work out. Maybe not the way you wanted it to, but it'll all work out. I think that's about all I got. My friend AJ, what do you got going on? Anything? Where are you going to be at? You setting up anywhere?
Not setting up anywhere. Just connecting people with resources and opportunities, man.
Hey.
We're doing it all the time, every day, and that's what we're here for.
Well, you're
So
going
that
to get another one this afternoon. So Mike and AJ, you guys look out for your emails. That'll be sent within the half an hour after we sign off out of here. It is Buddy Check 22 Day. So remember to check on your buddies. Ask them how they're doing, how they're really doing. And if there's anything you can do to take a little bit of that struggle away from them, please do it, right? A lot of times it's just sitting with them and listening. They don't need you to fix it. They just want you to listen to their struggle. So that's about all I got.
I love it, brother.
All right, man. Thank you for your time, AJ. Thanks to Jason and coming out. Congratulations to the Michigan Metal Fest Warriors. And hey, we'll see you up at Milan, Michigan this weekend. All right. Talk to everybody later.